In a serene town nestled among rolling hills and vibrant wildflowers, lived a family that seemed almost too perfect. Sarah, a kind and compassionate nurse, was married to John, a gentle and hardworking carpenter. Together they had a beautiful daughter named Emily, whose bright smile could light up the darkest room. John was well known in the town for his exceptional woodworking skills. He crafted furniture that was both functional and exquisite, each piece telling a story of dedication and artistry. Sarah, on the other hand, was beloved for her caring nature and dedication to her patients. Their love for each other was palpable, and their home was filled with warmth, laughter, and the sweet scent of Sarah's cooking. Emily adored her father. John would often take her to his workshop, where he taught her how to use various tools and shared stories about the pieces he created. He even made a special little wooden chair just for her, which she cherished deeply. Weekends were spent on family picnics, exploring nature, and enjoying each other's company. Life was idyllic, and happiness seemed to flow effortlessly through their days. However, fate had other plans. One sunny afternoon, John was working on his most ambitious project, yet a magnificent wooden bridge for the town's park. It was to be his masterpiece, a symbol of his love for the community. As he labored tirelessly, an unforeseen accident occurred. A structural beam, weakened by an unnoticed flaw, collapsed, trapping John beneath its weight. Despite the heroic efforts of the rescue team, John succumbed to his injuries. The news of John's death spread through the town like wildfire. The community mourned the loss of a talented craftsman and a dear friend. But no one felt the loss as deeply as Sarah and Emily. Sarah's world crumbled, and she found herself struggling to breathe under the weight of her grief. Emily, too, was devastated. The bond she had with her father was extraordinary, and his absence left a void that seemed impossible to fill. The days that followed were dark and filled with sorrow. Sarah tried to stay strong for Emily, but the pain of losing John was immense. Emily withdrew into herself, finding solace in the memories of her father's gentle guidance and the stories he used to tell. Despite the overwhelming grief, Sarah and Emily leaned on each other, finding strength in their shared love for John. Years passed, and though the pain of losing John never truly faded, Sarah and Emily began to rebuild their lives. They found comfort in their routines and the unwavering support of their community. Sarah threw herself into her work, pouring her heart into nursing, while Emily focused on her studies, determined to make her father proud. One day, at a community event, Sarah met Mark. He was charming, attentive, and seemed genuinely interested in Sarah's life and her experiences. Mark listened to her stories about John with empathy, offering a comforting presence that Sarah hadn't felt in years. Their friendship blossomed into something more, and after careful consideration, Sarah decided to remarry, hoping to bring some happiness back into their lives. And they had a wedding with many friends and family. Emily was 13 by the time Sarah and Mark married. At first, everything seemed perfect. Mark appeared to be a good stepfather, making an effort to bond with Emily. He would help her with her homework, take her to the park, and try to make her feel included. Sarah was relieved to see some joy returning to their home. However, as time passed, Emily began to feel uneasy around Mark. He would often invade her personal space and force himself on Emily, and after that he will tell Emily that if she tells anyone about what happened, he will kill her mother and her also. Emily didn't want to upset her mother, who seemed happy for the first time in a long while, so she kept her feelings to herself. Emily's discomfort grew, and she became increasingly anxious and withdrawn. She would spend hours alone in her room, avoiding Mark as much as possible. Her once vibrant spirit dimmed, and she often felt a sense of dread when Mark was around. When Sarah worked night shifts at the hospital, Emily would lock herself in her room, feeling an overwhelming sense of fear and isolation. Emily's teacher, Mrs. Johnson, noticed the change in her behavior. Emily, who had once been a bright and engaged student, was now withdrawn and frequently fell asleep in class. Concerned, Mrs. Johnson gently asked Emily if everything was all right at home. Emily hesitated, her heart pounding in her chest. She wanted to tell someone, but fear held her back. Over the next few weeks, Emily's anxiety reached a breaking point. She started having nightmares and found it difficult to concentrate in school. Mrs. Johnson's concern grew, and she continued to offer a listening ear, assuring Emily that she could talk to her about anything. One day, Unable to bear the weight of her secret any longer, Emily broke down and told Mrs. Johnson everything about Mark's behavior. Mrs. Johnson was horrified but remained calm for Emily's sake. She reassured Emily that she had done the right thing by speaking up and immediately took steps to ensure Emily's safety. She contacted the proper authorities and arranged for Emily to stay with a trusted family friend while the matter was investigated. When Sarah learned what had been happening, she was devastated. The realization that she had unknowingly placed her daughter in harm's way shattered her. She felt a deep sense of guilt and heartbreak, but was grateful that Emily had found the courage to speak out. Mark was taken into custody, and Emily was provided with counseling and support to help her heal from the traumatic experiences. Sarah realized the importance of vigilance and open communication in protecting her daughter. She joined a support group for single mothers, where she shared her story and learned from others who had faced similar challenges. Together, they advocated for awareness and education on the importance of safeguarding children in blended families. Emily and Sarah grew even closer through this ordeal, their bond unbreakable. Emily's bravery in speaking out not only saved her but also helped other children in the community by raising awareness about the importance of speaking up and seeking help when something feels wrong. From this experience, Sarah learned that while finding love again is important, her daughter's safety and well-being were paramount. The story of Sarah and Emily became a beacon of hope and a lesson in the power of resilience, trust, and the importance of listening to and protecting our children. To all the single mothers out there, always make sure your daughters are safe in your new relationship or marriage. Please subscribe and turn on the bell notification to know when we drop more beautiful stories like this. Also, feel free to drop your thoughts on the comment section because we would like to know your thoughts on this story.